Hello everyone, today we're doing a window. It's going there, but obviously the other way around. Yeah. So this is going to be us fitting window and a bit of a guide on how to do it. We've already fitted a polyvision window and a bonded glass, not in here obviously, in our other van. So we've fitted windows before. But this is what's called a cassette window, so it's acrylic. Which means that this bit, the actual glass bit, is acrylic. So generally you can tell because it's got a bit of a lip on it, whereas polyvision are generally quite flush. But because we're all about using old materials and try not to buy new, we got this as a steal off eBay because this pesky little thing here, it's like a,
Can't find it. No.
looks like a splinter in, I don't even know if you can see it on the camera, that's how little it is. It's like a splinter in the glass, but it's between, because this is like double glazed, it's there, a little splinter, but you can't even feel it. So instead of the window costing £270, it's cost us £150. So it's a saving, plus we're using old materials. The window, so that's the window.
That's me.
Yeah. And then this is the edge, you've got to obviously cut around, so that's the lip there, which sticks to the outside of the van, like that. So that's the bit you cut around. And then once that's fixed onto the outside of the van, you've got a metal piece which will go inside your van, and you use these screws to then, fix these two together, so it creates a bit of a sandwich. But obviously you can see there, that gap, measure it, it's about 25mm. Now fixing that to the window, these aluminium, they're only about 0.5 of a mil. So what we need to do is put a frame around the window so that it's got something to fix to. There's a bit of a sandwich of wood. And then once it's fixed, we have a very posh thing. Didn't really like these when we saw them in Mo, because they look a bit naff and a bit posh for us, innit? But it's actually amazing. And all this does is a bit over the top, voila. And then you take off, there's like a little strip there which comes out, and then you just screw that into the wall of the van, like whatever wall you're using. Yeah, so it's got a blind, and it's also got, that is going to be amazing, because when we were travelling in Vanderkamp with no fly screens, we spent a good hour or 2 hours before we went to bed killing flies. It turns into a game. So that is going to be incredible, and to be honest, it's money well spent just for that thing. Plus that feels amazing to do. How to measure a window, or where to put your window. The hardest bit is finding out how big your seat's going to be and the height. Now we're going off, when we built Vanderkamp we put an L-shaped seat in, and we had to put it a certain height because of the height of the ceiling. So what we're doing is we're going off the same height of the seat, because you can't go any higher because our bed's coming out to there. So when you're sat here, the bed's going to slightly over the top of you, so you can't have the seat too high, otherwise you're going to be having bad necks. So what we're doing is, that's going to be our floor, so we're just using some CLS C16 I think it's called. That's going down first, then 15mm ply, then 370mm for our seat, so that's going to be the base of the seat, and then the back piece, so our seat is going to pull out and it's going to make like a small, it's going to make a single bed, isn't it? Single bed size. So what this piece will do at the back, cushion, will fit there to make a bit of a single bed down here. So obviously we can't have the window behind there, so that's 300, which is that mark. And then we based it on our eye level, so this chair is actually the same height as what the seat will be, and then we've just marked our eye. It's actually Nemi's eye, it's not my eye. It's a very pretty eye. Marked our eye level, and then that kind of gives you an idea of where you want the window. So you want to have a nice view while you're sat down, but you also want to be able to see a bit while you stood up. So where we're going, we've roughly marked the window about, say it's there, I'll give you the right measurement, so our eye level is going to be about there. But it still means you can see out from inside then, which is nice. And you've got a nice view of the sky pretty much when you're sat down. Because don't forget, you're going to be staying in car parks as well, so you don't just want to be looking at gravel. You want to have a nice upwards view. So the window is going to be about 900mm from the finished floor, just to give you an idea. I'm just going to show you the measurements of what we're doing. So this is the floor we've got now. So then what we're going to have is, excuse my extremely straight lines, so we've got CLS timber, which is, that's 63mm on the floor. Then we're going to have, oh my god, this is terrible, excuse me, we're going to have ply, which is 15mm. So that's going to be what we're going to call, just put FF, so that's our finished floor. It's FFL actually, finished floor level. So that's what we're basing our measurements on. And then the next one we're going to have is the seat. So our seat height will be 370mm, and then we're going to have a cushion at the back, which we'll then use, like we said in the video, to be part of the bed. So cushion, that's 300mm, and then our window will go there. So window, and that is 910mm off the floor, so it gives, I think that's 40mm from the cushion to the bottom of the window. So basically that's how we go building from the floor up to the window. Okay, we've measured the cutout height of the window, so what we need to do is drill holes and draw it from the outside, and obviously the only way of doing it from the outside is to put some holes through. And what we're going to use is a jigsaw with one of them blades, a very fine metal blade, and that'll be absolutely fine for aluminium. So obviously, because we need to use that bit, we need a metal bit that will be slightly bigger, so that is just slightly bigger, so we can then put that piece through the hole and do some cutting. This is the bit that is generally a little bit scary. So I'll measure again. Keep saying measure twice, cut once, but measure bloody 3 times. And then a tip for when you're cutting, where's my pen? is, if you come here, obviously you're going to be cutting on that line. So when you drill the hole, you want to be drilling the hole about there. So that'll be our hole. Because if you, for example there, if you drill the hole here, you're actually going outside of where you need to cut it. So drill the hole just inside. Tip. This is our first hole in the van, isn't it?
Apart from that one. That's a big hole.
Oh! Another little tip for when you're cutting metal, don't go mad, don't put it on speed 2 and go mad. Put it speed 1 and go very slow, because then it won't snag and it cuts a lot cleaner. There's no going back now. Okay, we'll get the other hole drilled and then we'll see you outside for marking. Here are our scary holes. So it's a bit more daunting on the outside because there's no measurements. Now when marking the window, remember the van is probably not level. So at least we look here, we've got these straight lines, because obviously these panels are all straight and they're level with the floor. So measure from there. So for example, that one there, you mark, so that one's 60 mil, and that one there, 60 mil. So what you're doing, you're going to measure from there to create a straight line down to then mark your window from. Because if you just use that as a spirit level, we'll actually test it, see how level the van is. So yeah, you can see there, so I'm on the marks, but you can see the spirit level. It's only very slightly off, but it isn't exactly straight. I mean, we're being picky, aren't we? But gotta be picky. The next bit is to mark the centre. So you want to, ours is 550 there. So our 550 is like 25.25. So I'll mark that there, I'll just put a C so we know that's central. So then what we need to do is measure 900, which is our other cutout, along, do another line, join it up. Now with marking, we're not really bothered if we get it anyway, because we're going to paint the whole van. Put some smiley faces. Smiley faces. Just keep checking your measurements, because once you cut, they're going back. Now, like we did there measuring that one, we've got a straight edge at the top. So we can use that to measure that side. So if we go. If you mark it in several places, you'll see once you line them up, they all should be level. So that's that one. That's that one. So again, just double check. So you want, sorry, I'll take the pen lid out for now. Our gap's 550. 505, sorry, 505. And then this is just over 90 mil. So that's just over 90. Just over 90. Window. So now it's time to cut the window. jigsaw time. If you're using a jigsaw on this, we're not doing it because we're painting this in the end, so it doesn't matter if this gets marked and scratched. But run some tape or something around the edge, because using this, even though it's smooth, it will scratch your van. So put some tape on. But like us, yeah, if we're repainting all this and rubbing it down, so it doesn't really matter. Hurrah! Picture.
Let's watch on picture.
That horrible noise is the sound of filing. When it's cut, this edge here will have a very sharp point to it. So just go around with the file and smooth it down. So the next job is to put a bit of rust prevention paint. So we're using, hang on a bit, let me focus, direct to rust metal paint. Now that is amazing for stopping rust and corrosion. But because this is aluminium, we don't actually need it, because aluminium doesn't rust, which is great, but it can corrode. So just as a precaution, we've got some left over, so we're putting some on. But if you are doing this in a standard van, 100% put some metal paint just on this edge here, because it will rust, and it'll rust from the inside out.
Hello, my darling.
Hello. Yeah, so just putting the window in the hole just to test to make sure it's okay. And it is. We've got, you can see there, we've got a little bit of room top or bottom, but that's fine. We'll absolutely cake it in Bond, like silicone Bond. So the next step.
My name's Bond.
Silicone
Bond.
The next bit is just, you can see here, if I can do some, hey, we've got to put that piece of wood then around here for the frame to fix to. So that is the next job. Yes, so I shall get out of this. Bye. So we've made the frame. Here's the frame. We've put just some bonding adhesive. We're actually using this stuff, Grip Fill Max all-weather adhesive. And then what we're going to do is put these, you can see there, the surround. So one will go there and the other will go around there. But what we've done to get the pieces in, we've actually put little holes, and we're actually going to screw it from the outside. We've got some little tiny tech screws that won't interfere with the window. Okay, so the next bit is actually frame is in place. So next thing we've got to do is gunk that, stick it in, and then the other person, or whoever's doing the other bit, there's another person.
And the other person.
Then we've got the frame. We've already put some screws in ready, just so we haven't got to be an octopus again. And then that will hold up there, and these screws here, you can just about see. It's not zooming. But yeah, those screws there will then screw into the window and clamp it tight onto the frame. Ready?
Hooray!
So the window is in.
There.
There we go, window. Now a good sign is when you've put sealant in and it's literally been forced out around the edges, which is good. So that means it's filled the inside of the frame, it's got nowhere else to go, so it's coming out. So that means it's filled enough. So never be worried about putting too much on. You can always wipe it off. There's a little bit there, we'll run around the edge. Yeah, the main bit is the top, so with ours here, you'll see it's literally just gunking out everywhere. So I'm just going to remove that, give it a bit of a clean up, and we are done. Right then, after fitting the window, you can see, probably see it better now than just put my brew down. Obviously with the frames in around the edge, and it's a bit flimsy because of, you can see obviously the panel moves, so we've got to put some beams in, some wooden beams along here to reinforce it a bit more, but other than that it is in. A good job done. If you've never fitted a window before in a van, it is probably the most satisfying, one of the most satisfying parts of the van, because it just, well, it opens it up. So you can see now it's not just a van, it's actually becoming a little home. It's just a great experience. So if you've got the chance, fit your own window, it's great.